Hi, welcome back to our channel. We regularly upload interesting videos on different stories. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Decades ago, scientists tried to get in touch with alien life after so many years of perseverance. They really received a response, and the genetic code sent by the alien civilization contains life, recombination methods and alien DNA sequences. In this way, a new life species was born, and so is the life form of this alien blood. Her growth rate is very rapid. Only 3 months it has grown into the harmless teenage appearance of humans and animals. Now, in one night, Xavier found that yet normality of Cell's body. In order not to let things get out of control, he decided to terminate the experiment. Although very reluctant, still must be destroyed. The rapid spread of poisonous gas made Soul's desire to survive bursting. Suddenly, she broke the glass, covered the laboratory and quickly escaped. Although security personnel were quickly dispatched, Still jumped over the fence and quickly got in the passing train. A tramp sleeping in the cargo hold, trying to bully her, Still raised it with one hand and threw it outside, killing him on the spot. Putting on a tramp jacket, Still took advantage of the train to stop at the interchange station. She took away a travel bag from the luggage rack, embarked on a passenger train, and drove away. Taking advantage of the fact that there is no one at the cashier of the dining car, opened the drawer easily with her hands and take some of the money. Then she went to the kitchen to get some food. Go back to her seat and feast on it, leaving the lab for the first time. So late from day to night, after continuous eating, her body began to appear abnormal. There seems to be something about to break out. Sil was terrified and didn't know what to do on the other side. Xavier is not idle either. He called the group of capable people and strangers, Dan Smithson and mercenary Preston Press, Linux Dr. Steven scientists, Dr. Laura, the biologist. Introducing them to Cell shows a live video of the tragic death of a Tran, so his existence. It's like a time bomb. He hoped that the four of them could form a team and found Still on the train. The flight attendant found Cell's carriage empty. After walking inside, he found a woman that seemed to be breathing. This woman hadn't figured out the situation yet. She was wiped out by Sil, who had food supplies, got out of it, transformed into an adult woman with white skin and beautiful long legs, put on the clothes of the flight attendant. Curious, she continued to explore this unknown city. At the exit, every teenage girl was stopped. She has already an adult because of this uniform. She left the station smoothly, still as reason for another stage in the biological instincts. In her body began to wake up. Passing by a clothing store, she walked in without hesitation. She changed into a beautiful dress, more charming and moving. Staring at the cashier's raised belly, Sil's instinct to reproduce in her body is also stimulated. The children on the street makes those smile with the money from the flight attendant. Still checked into the hotel. Start learning all necessary skills on TV. You know, like hitting up, flirting and doing radio gymnastics. After this goal reserve is completed, actress Still starts to act, change into a nightclub outfit and went to the nearest bar to find a target. So parents wanting to find a man, it's not a big deal. After successfully eating, a woman in the bathroom successfully caught up with the first male guest at the same time because Still used the credit card or the flight attendant at the hotel. Xavier quickly led the team over. According to the surveillance video provided by the boss, they found that Sil, as expected, has become a glamorous girl. The hotel's manager told him that she was looking for a man, so he recommended her to the nearest bar. Taking with this videotape, the team quickly drove to the bar, but they are still late at this time. Still was already in the car of the male guest. Someone found the woman who died tragically in the bathroom. The whole bar suddenly panicked after seeing the scene. The expert team was even more convinced that Still did it. According to the outfit provided, someone remembered it was a man named Robbie who took this woman away. This is Robbie's mansion. He doesn't need to spend so much time. There's still a woman who comes home with him. Robbie is so happy that he doesn't forget to take a shower, staring at him after he takes a bath. Still, who is eager to multiply. Longing, Robbie, who is out of the bath as well, to take off his clothes, but Still did not refuse. But when Robbie's hand touched her face, she seemed to perceive something wrong. Her face changed and she asked Rob to take her away. Everything is ready. How could he miss this chance? Robbie will not miss this delicious taste. Holding Still with a strong hand since he is rushing to die, then Still is going to make his dream come true. Under the cover of night, Linux turned over to Robbie's house with a gun. Seeing Robbie die in the floor, Linux felt very bad. In the bathroom full of water. So who took a shower has already escaped. Everyone analyzed by Still wanted to kill this man. Is it a must for the spirit, or is there any threat? After all, she followed Robbie home, but to breed offspring. Only women could understand women or propose that. My skin sensed that their spouse is a disease or genetic problem. Maybe Still also has this ability. Sure enough, they found a bottle of used insulin in the trash can. Obviously Still is aware that he is not the best spouse. That's why they didn't mate. So with perfect adaptability, drove Robbie's car wandering in the streets and alleys. Continue to look for targets, but never saw the right man. Keep driving until the car is out of gas. Then she walked out of the car. She's never been taught to stop the red light and move the green light. She was hit by a car while crossing the road. The second male guest, Ryan, debuts as the perpetrator. Ryan did not choose to escape. He sent Still to the hospital in a coma, however, Still, whose shoulder blade was broken, but in front of the doctor. She quickly healed the wound. The doctor, who witnessed the whole process, Cecil, just got up and left. They are really doubting this life. Ryan just finished the hospitalization procedure for Sil. He was shocked to see her walking out intact because he couldn't ask Sales home. Brian had to take her back to his home. The expert team quickly found the car abandoned by Sil and got news on a woman in the hospital who healed her wound. Linux and Laura rushed to the hospital non-stop. They got the information about Ryan from the front desk of the hospital. Without further ado, rushed to Ryan's house immediately. So at this time has already designated Ryan as the best spouse. Still is in a hurry to have a baby with him at this time. Linux and Laura have arrived, but doorbell rang and Ryan got up to open the door. Surprisingly, Still not only prevented him from leaving, but also threatened to have a baby. Seeing Ryan, we were shocked, insisted on leaving. Still couldn't help but put him in the swimming pool. Linux, who had a premonition wrong, looked around with a gun, but I only saw Ryan, who had already gone in the pool of blood. They must find Still as soon as possible. Linux walked alone into the grove of Ryan's backyard. He didn't know that a pair of eyes in the dark were staring at him through the inspection of Ryan. It was found that he did not behave before he died. So Sil, who was not conceived yet, will continue to search for her target. They have to kill the monster before the male guest number 3 comes on the stage. So at this time, attacking kidnapped an innocent passerby, drove her car and went back here to observe the situation. The habit of reading lip language since childhood let her know about Xavier's next plan in her sleep. Still discovered that Linux was her death and spouse, but now the expert team is chasing herself non-stop. Only by getting rid of them is it possible to implement her own reproduction plan. So Still came up with a trick to get rid of the golden cicada. Cut out the thumbs of herself and the stranger. She went to the gas station and bought a few barrels of gasoline. Then went to the bar where the squad guarded, leading to Dan. Dan recognized her as Silly to glance and quickly called companion to pursue. Still loved the stranger and drove away quickly under the attack of ground and air power. Still in Carney as a veteran driver of the famous Auto Mountain clears all the way, finding the right time. She rushed down the hillside and Still jumped off the car halfway and escaped the runaway car loaded with gasoline. Just crashed into the electric box. Prepared in advance, the expert squad on the road was shocked by the skyrocketing fire, soon as scorched on was found. After testing, it really belongs to Sil. Everyone inferred that Sil, who ran away, could not choose her way. Not only did she break his fingers, he was also burned to death in the car. When the task was completed, everyone came to the bar to drink and celebrate. Only Dan thinks it's not that simple at this time, so was not only intact, but also cut short and dyed her hair. It's very different from the previous image of a blonde. She started to approach clinic secretly, but found out that Linux and Laura were already ambiguous. All the noise was heard by Sil at the door. She secretly opened the door of the next room, eavesdropping on Linux and Laura through the wall. Who knew this happened at Steven's room when Steven was confused, and asked her she was still as reluctant to give up this last chance. She immediately plays the essence and uses the beauty trick. She took her arms and drilled into Steven's arms. Dan is reading in the room and at this time feels something wrong. He always felt that syllabus here, so he got up and went to find a companion. As soon as he was going to find Steven, he noticed everything inside through the door. Dan had to seek help from Linux and Laura. He told Linux that she hasn't died yet. She even stays together with Steve, and after thinking about it again and again, Linux decide to believe in Dan. But it's too late. The battle between Steven and Sil is already over. Still has felt the beginning of life in her belly. Steven, who realized with hindsight, also completely lost the value of use. Linux led the team and broke into Sil, turned into a monster, and fled to the underground passage. The thick iron gate has been pierced by her. They hurriedly took their weapons and followed the trail to find her. Because Sol is hiding under the water, cunningly Dan was unable to obtain the accurate positioning when using telepathy. Then Xavier became the first victim. There are 3 dare not neglect continue to follow. Dan noticed that Still sneaked into the innermost along a crack. Linux was looking for the road while holding the torch. Unexpectedly, the place where this crack leads to is actually full of oil in the dark. Still has given birth to a child. His growth rate is obviously faster than the competition. The mouse in the hole can't escape the hungriness of a little baby after a full meal. The little guy who grew up quickly began to mutate, roaring and rushing towards Dan. He laid down with a torch, but he almost fell. Unlucky enough that the baby just gave birth fell into the flames like this. The mutated still starts to run. Wild Linux fell onto her hands. Fortunately, the dagger he carried worked after successfully severing a tentacle. Linux escaped smoothly. Then he beat the monster in front of him and forgets. Finally, the monster fell into the sea of fire and made a scream of infiltration. The fire is getting bigger and bigger. Just when Dan is about to be saved, Linux loaded the ammunition backhand and sent the monster to hell after it. But 3 years survived. The catastrophe left the cave, but is a disaster really over? Obviously not. This species was released in 1995. It can be said to be a fragrant version of Alien, a monster version of the Terminator. The perfect figure of the heroine makes a nosebleed. Maybe this is the 4th part of the Alien series. There are still reasons why people are watching. Okay, that's all for today's video.